What happened to my brain? Meninges, and perhaps their little swabs of adhesions from the brain to the skull, were torn apart and disjointed from their proper places, instead of holding my brain onto my skull. Like a plastic covering over the brain, the meninges were subjected to torque spinning injury that I fondly called brain swirl. Inflammatory mediators were released into my bloodstream, rendering me toxic appearing. Later, I would drink and pee, drink and pee, drink and pee. Everything I drank, I peed. You know there's something very wrong when you go to your PCP office, try to give a urine sample, and end up fainting on the dirty floor. And the most prominent goal in your mind is to stay on the floor, because your brain is not getting enough blood. This sequence of events is just not normal, okay? The office appropriately called an ambulance, and an additional serious diagnosis awaited discovery as I was whisked off to the ER yet again. Unbeknownst to me or anyone else, my pituitary gland, normally hanging like an apple on a stalk in the cerebrospinal fluid of the ventricles of the brain, had been tossed against the walls of the brain's ventricle. You can get down, I can go chase the outside. Can go chase the outside. Can go chase the outside. Tossed, crammed, smushed. Whatever kind of hit that my pituitary gland took was a grand slam that incapacitated an area that controls the amount of water that your body retains. Normally, if you were in the desert, your body would produce little to no urine so you do not die of dehydration. With diabetes insipidus, DI, one keeps urinating and urinating until death in the desert. So with 5 doctors meeting outside my hospital room, another diagnosis was made, that of DI. This accounted for the polydipsia, i.e. increased thirst, and the polyuria, i.e. increased urine. Parenthetically, no relation to regular diabetes or diabetes mellitus. It just resembles a diabetic patient with high glucose who pees and pees and pees. Prescription, DDAVP or vasopressin injections, just like the medical school books teach, just like the medical board exams classically teach every doctor, so that all doctors keep this diagnosis in mind, especially after severe head trauma or spinning torque head injury. Unfortunately, we were unable to make a full diagnosis of DI because I was injected with the hormone before the last blood sample was taken. What do I think happened at the molecular level? And what was it like to go from an extremely high-functioning physician to the opposite spectrum, an inability to talk or walk? Inflammatory mediators were probably relatively diminished due to the Madrigal dose pack of steroids that I was given for sun poisoning. Steroids like this are given for asthma and allergic reactions because the steroids have an anti-inflammatory effect. In the meantime, I felt like I was being suffocated with invisible hands around my neck, like having an umbilical cord wrapped once around your neck when you were born, such that you cannot wear a turtleneck sweater because you have to keep stretching and stretching the neck, so you do not feel like you are being strangled. But now, you're being strangled, slowly drowning, dying in slow motion. was I doing thinking about dying? I have a wonderful husband, a 3-year-old daughter, and a 26-year-old son, of whom I am proud. While the outside of my body appeared sick and my face was gray and withdrawn, my brain was suffering from an invisible insult. I knew there was something very wrong with me. Doctor appointment after doctor appointment, normal CAT scan after normal MRI. No one could figure me out completely. There seemed to always be a physically exhaustive, clinically significant something that tortured my body, until it caught up to me and declared itself to all. On this day, June 24th, 2006, I could feel my body's energy becoming depleted, bit by bit, chunk by chunk. Did I say this? I don't remember. Did I say that? I don't recall. Did I eat breakfast? I don't remember. Did you call me the other day? I don't remember. Pick up Grandma from the airport? Sure, I can do that. Actually, I went north on the 405 freeway instead of south, and poor Grandma was waiting an extra hour at the airport terminal. Sorry, Grandma. Oh, and then I almost backed up into a car with a man in it. Mike, sit down and listen to me. There's something very wrong with me, and I don't think I should drive anymore, especially with the baby. This is serious. And Mike, I need you to come with me to all my doctor's appointments from now on, because they will listen to you better than they will listen to just me. Really. Yes. I begged from the pit of my stomach. What a wonderful husband to stay with me and help me figure out what happened and how we could best live with it. He could have just been too busy, done nothing, and or left me, like so many spouses leave when the going gets tough. Throwing up all day and all night, creating different levels of vomiting. 1. Extended time spent during exhalation and stomach cramping. 2. When it is forceful, usually with abdominal muscle involved, to cause a deep and painful contraction, leading to what is called projectile vomiting. Projectile vomiting could be a serious disorder when accompanied an infant shortly after birth. Vomiting is not one of my strongest lectures, but if you see a baby projectile vomiting across the room, this is serious. Mothers, you continue to mother. Could you think about that for a minute with me? I don't recall a nauseating hangover the first time I ever got truly drunk in 9th grade, 1974, if my math makes sense. It was that Shirley Feeney that made me do it, really. I could not even taste the vodka and the screwdriver, and this was a sign of danger for me. I could see Shirley as an alcoholic. I could also see her being fully recovered. Now I'm off track. Why does this happen with me? Why do things happen so that you, the reader, are inwardly complaining and shaking your head because you are lost in my brain-injured world? When you read this type of book, it is as if you have to restart from the beginning every time. You cannot just put it down and then tomorrow start off where you left it. Otherwise, you will not have the same flavor, and you will certainly be confused. Why? You find this book difficult to read, and your mind cannot get the analysis and the mathematics of how I now think, what I think about, and how I feel about something. But you still yearn to learn how my brain has changed, and I will describe it to you. I surmise that you really do want to get to know me, the person who was supposed to die. So you don't think that I should mention it, that it was my time to die? Yes, I should. I was taken up to heaven, and atrás, behind me, was planet Earth. If we were together then, you would know me now and understand how little our lives are, and how we prioritize things or people in our life. This denotes God's assessment of us as human beings. Animals don't leave their newborns. Animals teach their young how to survive. I am one of the people who said no to heaven, and instead, with humble wishes and the compassion from a loving Lord and God, I was allowed to come back to earth. This was in exchange for the passions of my family, the love of my life, and the perseverance I have to stop elderly abuse. I understand, and I know the deal. Everything I have, everything I am, is influenced by what God thinks.